Chapter 1641, Very Interesting. Chapter 1641, Very Interesting. Translator. Atlas Studios. Editor. Atlas Studios. Facing Fang Yuan's immense killing intent, Bai Ningbing smiled as she looked towards Fang Yuan straight in the eye, asking in return, "Why should I run?" After pausing for a moment, she said, "Qi Clan's Gu immortals escaped, that is because they don't know you. We are both from Qing Mao Mountain, with my understanding of you, how could they escape? He, since I cannot escape, what's the point of running? Not only will I not escape, on the contrary, I will join Shadow Sect." Fang Yuan frowned. "I had thought of that, but your Baixiang killer move is too amazing, it can free you from almost any alliance agreement." The uniqueness of Baixiang was that it turned the Gu immortal into a unique existence, even a tiny fragment could regenerate and be reborn. The essence of alliance agreements were information path Dao marks. Bai Ningbing could make use of Baixiang to self-mutilate and get rid of her information path Dao marks, negating her alliance agreements. Thus, Baixiang was also used for healing, to get rid of unwanted Dao marks in the body. Indeed. Facing Fang Yuan's deep wariness, Bai Ningbing laughed, not caring about her own safety, "But isn't that more exciting?" Fang Yuan snorted, saying in displeasure, "I am not you, Bai Ningbing." Bai Ningbing nodded. She stopped smiling as brilliance flashed in her dragon eyes. "Indeed, I have been pursuing excitement all along. This is why I admire you, Fang Yuan, your life is truly exciting, it is so thrilling. Every time you plot, every time you succeed, or even every time you fail, they are filled with excitement. Especially earlier when you were ambushed by Heavenly Court and had to escape like a dog, it was truly the most thrilling experience. The other Shadow Sect members cannot understand my feelings. Some just want to save Spectral Soul Demon Venerable, some feel fear and panic, some feel immense pressure, but what I feel is excitement and thrill. The bigger the problems, the bigger the troubles, the more exciting life is, isn't that right? Others might not know me, but I am sure that you understand me, right?" Bai Ningbing stared at Fang Yuan's eyes with a bright gaze. Fang Yuan was silent. Back then on Qing Mao Mountain, he had deduced that Bai Ningbing was a true demon. He was not wrong, that was exactly who she was. To pursue the excitement of life, she could give up anything, even her life. The values and moral concepts of normal people, the complexities of love and hatred, they were all unrelated to her. She was different from the norm, her world view was vastly different, she only walked on her own path. She followed her own desires, she did not care about life and death. In fact, Bai Ningbing and Fang Yuan were very similar, they were the same kind, only that they pursued different goals. Fang Yuan pursued eternal life, he was willing to sacrifice anything including himself. Even if he failed and died along the way, he would feel happy and content, because he lived pursuing his dreams, he felt a sense of satisfaction and enjoyment towards life. 1. Bai Ningbing said that Fang Yuan understood her, she was absolutely right, it was the same as how she understood Fang Yuan. The saying goes, heroes admired each other, it was the same for demons. Fang Yuan's killing intent gradually faded away. His killing intent was only a facade, the truth was, he did not really have much killing intent. Why should he kill Bai Ningbing? Fang Yuan's strength far surpassed Bai Ningbing, her threat was very low to Fang Yuan. 2. Sometimes, when he saw Bai Ningbing, Fang Yuan could see his own reflection. True demons like them were too rare, meeting one was a form of luck, it was a form of affirmation towards their goals. Because of their similarity, they recognized each other, they acknowledged each other. Thus, back then, when Bai Ningbing gave up her life to save Fang Yuan, she said her final words, asking Fang Yuan to live in her place and witness the excitement of life. Bai Ningbing had felt that Fang Yuan could take her place to a certain extent. Sometimes, Fang Yuan thought about it, if he and Bai Ningbing exchanged identities, would he have made the same choice as her? Ha ha ha. Bai Ningbing suddenly raised her head and laughed, "I can give all of Baixiang Grotto Heaven's resources to you. But I want the Gu worms from Baixiang's true inheritance. I am willing to join Shadow Sect because facing Heavenly Court is truly exciting. This was your excitement, but it will become mine as well. In that case, there are 3 possible outcomes. Bai Ningbing squinted, excitement flashing in her eyes. There was a light of insanity. The first possibility, you get killed by Heavenly Court. With your strength, even if you get killed, it will be in an incredible manner. Your struggle before death will definitely be a climax. By witnessing your death, it will be the greatest experience of my life. The second possibility, Heavenly Court gets defeated or even destroyed by you. That is definitely exciting beyond belief, the #1 force of human history falling like a crashing meteor. It will create the greatest sparks in this world. And the third possibility, the one I anticipate the most, because it is the most thrilling. You and Heavenly Court get into a deadlock, both sides suffer losses. In that case, I will stay by your side. I will have the supreme chance to find an opportunity. I might even emerge as the victor. Both you and Heavenly Court will become my stepping stones. Fang Yuan looked at Bai Ningbing calmly. He said with a cold and expressionless face, if I kill you now, all 3 possibilities will vanish. Yes, yes. Bai Ningbing frowned. She became a little dejected, her gaze flickered and her tone became heavy. That is true. If I die now, even though I will resist to the utmost, our strength is too vastly different, there will be little excitement in the battle. But if that is your choice, I will accept it. She smiled, shrugging, I am just too weak, I have to accept that fate. This cruelty of life is also exciting, isn't it? He. Death was not scary for Bai Ningbing. She was a lunatic, but also logical and calm. Such a person was the scariest. But someone even scarier than her was standing right in front of her. 1. It was the demonic path overlord Fang Yuan who made both Heaven's Will and Heavenly Court helpless to deal with. Fang Yuan smiled as he laughed, very interesting. Bai Ningbing was a very interesting person. Right now, Bai Ningbing was weak and was subject to Fang Yuan's mercy. She did not try persuading him to spare her, she said the opposite, even exposing her own threat to Fang Yuan. This was because she understood Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan was a person who kept a clear mind. He had already analyzed the benefits and costs of keeping her life. Once he made up his mind, it was useless no matter what was said. Even without Bai Ningbing's words, Fang Yuan knew that he needed all the strength he could get to face Heavenly Court and obtain Red Lotus' true inheritance. Bai Ningbing was a precious source of battle strength. Even if she was given a chance to betray him, so what? A blade was naturally able to harm oneself. But if he threw this blade away and fought empty-handed, was that not a stupid move? It was up to Fang Yuan's abilities to make good use of this blade and prevent her betrayal. If I am too useless and Bai Ningbing's betrayal succeeds, I can only blame myself, isn't that right? 1. Thinking of this, Fang Yuan laughed, oh Bai Ningbing, you are truly someone I admire. I will not kill you now. Follow me, witness my failure or success. If I die at your hands, that will be quite a show. But now, display your worth to me, bring me the heads of Qi clan's Gu immortals, and also, their Qi Sea Grotto heaven. 1. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1642, Blood Revenge. Chapter 1642, Blood Revenge. Translator. Atlas Studios. Editor. Atlas Studios. Inside rank 9 killer move heaven form. Fang Yuan's will moved like a dragon, coiling in the air as he charged down abruptly. Rumble. Fang Yuan's will descended like a meteor, crashing into the bottom of the Sea of Wills, exterminating a large amount of them in an instant. However, this Sea of Will was truly huge. Fang Yuan's attack only destroyed a small portion of them. Even though I won and occupied the killer move's core area, this place is filled with the wills of the 5 Xiang's descendants. Only after I exterminate them all can I truly activate this rank 9 killer move. This Sea of Will was colossal. And the bigger problem was, these wills were affected by the rank 9 killer move and were as sturdy as rocks. Many of Fang Yuan's methods could not work on them. Under the influence of the rank 9 killer move, he had a limited number of methods to use. Fang Yuan suddenly had a thought as he instilled a new tide of will. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. The will gathered into swords as countless will swords shot down like rain, stabbing into the sea of wills and creating huge pits. In a while, a layer of this sea of wills was eradicated. Compared to the earlier will dragon, this rain of will swords had far more terrifying power. Fang Yuan saw this and sighed deeply, as expected of rank 8 Immortal Gu Wisdom Sword. He had rank 8 cultivation level now, he could use this Gu. Even though it was a sword path Immortal Gu, it was closely related to Wisdom Path. Fang Yuan used it as the core to deduce a simple move that could summon a large amount of sword will. Using these sword wills to attack the sea of wills was the most effective method that Fang Yuan had tried. But if he did that, his investments would be very high. Wisdom Sword Immortal Gu was a rank 8 Gu, it expended White Lychee Immortal Essence and the Immortal Killer move with it would cause a lot of Immortal Essence expenditure. But Fang Yuan calculated and found that he could accept this expenditure. After all, he was affluent, his immortal aperture management was a rising gold mine. During the battle in the River of Time, even though Fang Yuan escaped and ruined Heavenly Court's plan of killing him, his losses were severe. The destruction of the incomplete Immortal Gu house was extremely painful to him, even now. This incomplete Immortal Gu house was created by Fang Yuan after capturing many southern border Gu immortals and obtaining their Immortal Gu. He went through transactions and negotiations with southern border's righteous path, eventually extorting enough Immortal Gu for the assembly. Fang Yuan had spent a lot of effort to do this, even though he spent so much time on it, it was destroyed. I hope this heaven form killer move can be of use to me. Fang Yuan was deeply anticipating what heaven form could bring to him. For ordinary killer moves, Fang Yuan could investigate and deduce their abilities. But this killer move was rank 9, it was too profound, Fang Yuan could not comprehend it. This was Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable's creation, he was specialized in Space Path and Theft Path, even if this was not an offensive move, it had an incredible effect for sure. Even though Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable did not explain anything about this move, Fang Yuan could deduce some things from other aspects. Like Shadow Sex attitude. Shadow Sex Old Man Xianxia specially helped by Ning Bing for the sake of getting heaven form. Old Man Xianxia was a wisdom path great expert, he might have found out something, this heaven form killer move must be very useful to Shadow Sect. Fang Yuan was the current leader of Shadow Sect, this heaven form killer move was definitely going to be beneficial to him. Other than getting rid of the Sea of Wills, Fang Yuan also broke the 5 Xiang seal and obtained the Immortal Gu house at the peak of the mountain, as well as this public grotto heaven. This grotto heaven only opened once in 1,000 years, it had abundant resources. Qi Clan's Gu immortals were too busy fleeing, they could not obtain any of these resources, so they all became Fang Yuan's resources. Boom! The huge explosion tore Bai Ningbing to pieces. But at the next moment, her Bai Xiang form gathered again and charged at Qi Clan's Gu immortals. Qi Clan's Gu immortals had ugly expressions, they saw how terrifying the killer move Bai Xiang was. Bai Ningbing had this move active, she was almost undying. Even so, right now, she was not fighting alone, Ing Wuxia and He Lu Lan were also helping her. Even though Fang Yuan wanted Bai Ningbing to kill these Qi Clan Gu immortals, he knew her limits. She did not even have the most crucial immortal battlefield killer move. Fang Yuan had already set up an immortal formation in ambush, ever since he captured the southern border righteous path immortals, he started to love this method. Once Qi Clan's Gu immortals entered, they were stripped of their freedom by the immortal formation, they could not escape, they had to fight Bai Ningbing. Ah! With a painful scream, the youngest Qi Clan Gu immortal was fatally injured by Bai Ningbing and died. My turn. Ing Wuxia was already prepared, he immediately moved and captured the Qi Clan Gu immortal soul, trapping it in the formation. The remaining Qi clan Gu immortals shouted in anger as they retaliated fiercely. Bai Ningbing was broken into fragments again, but she revived in a few breaths of time, reforming into Bai Xiang again. Even though there were many Qi clan Gu immortals who had high battle strength, they all revealed expressions of despair now. Because they knew that Bai Ningbing could not be killed, while they were trapped here, they would eventually lose in this battle of attrition. 3. What do we do? Bai Ningbing is too troublesome to deal with, and most importantly, this Fang Yuan is too vicious. He actually set this formation near the entrance of our Qi Si Grotto Heaven. Qi clan's Gu immortals had been very vigilant, but when they were near their base, they were captured. They did not know that Fang Yuan had killed Qi Zai. Even though he did not enter the 5 Xiang Grotto Heaven, he knew the details of Qi Si Grotto Heaven. This Qi Si Grotto Heaven was the immortal aperture of Qi Xiang in the past. After being placed in White Heaven, it could not move anymore, it had stayed there all along. Fang Yuan used this intel to set up the immortal formation secretly, managing to trap the Qi clan members. At this rate, we are bound to lose. Stall. I don't believe that her Bai Xiang killer move is so strong. Does it not have any cost or backlash? Don't forget about Fang Yuan. If he gets here, we are not in the immortal Gu house. The 5 Xiang seal cannot stop him. We cannot break out of the immortal formation. We need to let Qi Ping Su come out and cooperate with us to break this formation. No. Qi Ping Su is the only person left in the base. If he comes out, he will need to open the entrance. Shadow Sect would be able to use that chance. 1. Fang Yuan might be nearby waiting for the Grotto Heaven to open already, so that he can charge in. Fang Yuan did not come. But his fearsomeness and craftiness was etched into everyone's hearts. The Qi clan Gu immortals felt deep pressure and started to be flustered. At the same time, in Central Continent, a young man was standing quietly, looking at the immortal Gu in front of him. This young man had a mature and experienced expression. It showed that he had gone through many hurdles in his life. This was none other than Gu Yufangzheng. Gu Yufangzheng was originally going to be executed by Immortal Crane Sect, but Fang Yuan plotted and faked his death, making him live in Langyip Blessed Land. Fang Zheng lived in a place where he was ostracized by hairy men. He had experienced a long period of wars and conflicts, being in danger at all times. He was also often in situations where his life was on the line. After all of these experiences, he was no longer the same as before. He had truly matured. After that, when Heavenly Court attacked Langyip Blessed Land, because of Gu Yufangzheng's unique identity, he was saved by Feng Jiugu. After that, he returned to Central Continent. If I am not wrong, this is a blood path immortal Gu. Fang Zheng looked at the Gu immortal before him as he showed a mocking smile. You want me to cultivate blood path, become a demonic path Gu immortal and deal with Gu Yufang Yuan? This is the decision of Immortal Crane Sect, a righteous path sect. 1. Immortal Crane Sect's rank 6 Gu immortal Fan Shilu frowned slightly as he chuckled. Regardless of what strength it is, if you use it righteously, it is righteous. If you use it for evil, it is demonic. Don't you understand this? For example, I cultivate poison path, but I can still help the people of this world. You can do the same with blood path. Gu Yufangzheng shook his head. Me cultivating blood path is only for the sake of dealing with Fang Yuan effectively. After all, we are blood brothers. Even though Fang Yuan had the sovereign immortal body, his time path clone was still blood related to Fang Zheng. Fan Shilu nodded. That is the case indeed. Don't you want to take revenge? After all, he slaughtered all of your clansmen in Guyu village. Gu Yufangzheng sighed deeply. Even though he had a young face, his gaze was deep with the vicissitudes of life. So many years have passed. To speak the truth, even though I still hate him, I understand him already. I have thought about it. I was very childish and ignorant when I was young. Fang Yuan had taken care of me greatly. In contrast, my uncle and aunt had treated me as a pawn and made use of me. Should I take revenge for such people? I do not want to. 2. Of course, the clan leader and Gu Yuqing Shu had taken good care of me. They helped to nurture me. I am very willing to take revenge for them. 3. But I am tired now, sigh, the cycle of killing each other continues endlessly over time. I do not want revenge anymore. Fan Shilu's expression did not change. It seems that these years, you have truly experienced a lot of things. Gu Fangzheng looked at him, his mocking smile became wider. The irony is that when I wanted to take revenge, the sect did not support me and even wanted to eliminate me. But when I gave up on revenge, you all saved me and supported my revenge. Speaking of this, Gu Fangzheng looked at the blood path immortal Gu, having an eerie gaze, and I know that I have no choice, I can only accept this. Fan Shilu assessed Fangzheng once again, a surprise flashed in his eyes as he smiled lightly. Is it really fine to speak so openly about this? Does it really matter? I know that with your methods, I cannot hide any thoughts from you, isn't that right? Saying so, Fangzheng stretched out his arm, holding that Gu as he asked, what is this Gu's name? Blood Revenge. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1643, Grotto Heaven Changes Owners. Chapter 1643, Grotto Heaven Changes Owners. Translator. Atlas Studios. Editor. Atlas Studios. By Ning Bing, don't go overboard. Qi Clan's Gu immortal leader Qi Fa shouted in anger. Bai Ning Bing was laughing coldly in her mind. Bai Xiang tore through the sky, flashing past Qi Fa as Qi Jin's corpse was left behind, frozen in ice. His expression of fear before dying was perfectly preserved, vividly shown within the ice. Boom boom boom. Qi Path Killer moves burst out endlessly. Bai Xiang dodged a portion of them, some were intercepted by the immortal formation, while the rest tore Bai Xiang to shreds. But immediately, it regenerated to perfection. This scene made the Qi Clan Gu immortals feel a deep chill down their spines. After an intense battle, 3 of the 5 Qi Clan Gu immortals had died, only Qi Fa and Qi Kai were left. Damn it, Bai Xiang is too powerful, we cannot deal with it in this situation. Qi Fa gritted his teeth. This super immortal formation is the biggest problem, without it, we would have escaped already. Qi Kai looked at Qi Fa with bloodshot eyes, pointing out the truth. Qi Fa was silent. Qi Kai was right, even though the killer move by Xiang was strong, couldn't they simply run from it if they could not beat it? The sky was vast, there was no need to face Bai Ning Bing directly. But it was too difficult to break out of this immortal formation. At least for Qi Fa and Qi Kai, they had been trying since the start, but had obtained no fruits of success. Qi Fa sighed, you are right, let's call Qi Ping Su to help. Qi Ping Su only had rank 6 cultivation level, he was staying behind to guard Qi Clan's base, Qi Si Grotto Heaven. But now, they had to ask him to come out and join forces with them, as long as they could destroy a bit of this immortal formation, they would be rescued. But if they did that, they would fall into Fang Yuan's trap. Fang Yuan had purposely made sure the immortal formation did not block transmissions, he wanted to lure Qi Ping Su out of the Grotto Heaven. Qi Fa knew this, so for the entire duration of the battle, he did not want to get help from Qi Ping Su. But now, they were in a desperate situation, if they did not ask him to come out, they would lose their lives. Qi Ping Su was already waiting to move, once he received orders, he opened the immortal aperture's entrance. Bai Ning Bing was overjoyed, they finally did it. Saying so, she teleported away using the formation, rushing into the immortal aperture's entrance. Oh no! Qi Ping Su had just wanted to go out when Bai Ning Bing charged in, without a choice, he had to retreat. Qi Si Grotto Heaven was huge, it was covered in white clouds and had strong winds. The moment Bai Ning Bing entered, she felt a strong pressure, her strength was heavily suppressed by the vast Qi Path Dao marks in this place. But Bai Xiang was still extremely powerful, Bai Ning Bing and Qi Ping Su fought intensely and she soon gained the upper hand. Qi Ping Su only had rank 6 cultivation level, his legs were crippled and he had injuries in his body. He could not beat Bai Ning Bing, he quickly retreated with his territorial advantage in this place, he soon vanished into the white clouds. Bai Ning Bing furrowed her brows. The situation was slightly troublesome. She did not kill Qi Ping Su earlier. How could she find this person in this huge grotto heaven now? Even if she found him, what if he runs away again? Suddenly, Bai Ningbing raised her head. She saw that a thick sea of clouds had formed above her head. An intense sense of danger alerted her in her mind. A fatal danger. Instantly, Bai Ningbing understood the severity of the situation. She quickly flew down like a falling meteor, descending rapidly. In her vision, the yellowish ground was getting larger and larger. Bai Ningbing's expression became solemn, the sense of danger in her heart was intensifying. Intense winds blew around her. She turned to look at the sky only to find the cloud sea expanding into the horizons. An intensely powerful killer move was nurturing from within it. At the same time, Qi Ping Su, who was in the cloud sea, looked at Qi Si Heavenly Spirit as he said joyfully, "Qi Si Heavenly Spirit, you are awake. This timing is truly impeccable." Qi Si Heavenly Spirit had the appearance of a snow-white fawn. Its eyes were golden in color, extremely dazzling. I was roused and woke up. Since the last time I got injured, I needed to seal myself to stabilize my injuries. But this time, I sensed that an incredibly evil and strong existence is coming after the grotto heaven. I had to wake up as a result, but this intruder is not that existence that I felt. Qi Ping Su was stunned. I know who that is, it must be Fang Yuan. Heavenly Spirit, you have sealed yourself for years. You do not know that a terrifying demonic path Gu immortal had emerged. His name is Fang Yuan. Even Heavenly Court was helpless against him. Qi Si Heavenly Spirit was shocked. Even Heavenly Court was helpless? It must be him. Qi Ping Su pointed at Bai Ningbing, saying in extreme anger, "This is Fang Yuan's subordinate. She has already killed 3 of our clan's Gu immortals." Qi Si Heavenly Spirit was enraged. Killing intent surged in its golden eyes. "An eye for an eye. They killed our Qi clan's bloodline. We will end her life as well." Saying so, an intense sound resounded as a huge white Qi pillar slammed down towards Bai Ningbing at a rapid speed from the cloud sea. At this instance, Bai Ningbing was shocked to find that there was a force all around her immobilizing her. She had all sorts of thoughts in her mind, but her body was unmoving, like a bug trapped in amber. So powerful. Even with all my strength, I cannot escape. Bai Ningbing raised her head. A white Qi pillar was slamming down at her like a giant mountain. This attack was clearly at rank 8 level. Even if Bai Ningbing had Bai Xiang, she could not escape. She was bound to die. But at this moment, a jade light sparkled out of nowhere. It burst out into countless spreading jade fireflies, dancing around the area. From within the jade green light, Fang Yuan emerged. "It's him." Instantly, Qi Si Heavenly Spirit shook intensely, shouting in shock. "Indeed, he is Fang Yuan." Qi Ping Su gulped, swallowing his saliva while feeling extremely nervous. Against the white Qi pillar, Fang Yuan's expression did not change. He only stretched out his finger. Swoosh! With a shrill sound, an intensely sharp and huge sword will surged up and pierced the white Qi pillar, cutting it into 2. The white Qi pillar dissipated. Qi Ping Su opened his mouth as he felt deeply shocked. "I'm saved." Bai Ningbing was dazed before her lips curled up. She flew into the air and stood beside Fang Yuan. "What move is this?" Bai Ningbing looked up above her, saying hesitantly, "Don't tell me." "It should be Qi Xiang's signature killer move, Unlimited Qi Si. This move is grand and vast. It is complex and ever-changing, capable of attacking and defending. Qi Xiang was renowned back in the day because of it." Fang Yuan agreed, having a solemn expression. Unlimited Qi Si was a rank 8 killer move. It used many Qi Path Immortal Gu as the cores, with tens of thousands of supplementary Gu worms. It could absorb all kinds of Qi in the world to increase its power. This killer move was quite unique. It had potential for growth on its own. After Qi Xiang created this move, he collected all sorts of Qi and stored them inside the immortal aperture, increasing the power of this move. Thankfully, Qi Xiang had died long ago, even though unlimited Qi Si was left in Qi Si Grotto Heaven, because it was too powerful and without any rank 8 Gu immortals in Qi clan, the huge quantity of Qi had gradually dissipated. Until now, Fang Yuan was after Qi Si Grotto Heaven. It alerted Qi Si Heavenly Spirit and it barely managed to activate unlimited Qi Si. After so many years, it had finally been used again. Even though this move is powerful, Qi Xiang had died long ago. How much power can the Heavenly Spirit unleash with it? Hee hee. Fang Yuan snickered, suddenly flying into the sky, straight towards the cloud sea. Bai Ningbing gritted her teeth. She wanted to fight alongside Fang Yuan, but she quickly stopped herself wisely, showing regret on her face. She was too weak, she could not participate in a battle of such magnitude. Rumble. Bai Ningbing looked at the sky. The cloud sea was rumbling. After Fang Yuan went in, the waves became more turbulent, as if a tsunami had occurred in the white clouds. At the same time, thunderous explosions resounded endlessly. Life Qi, Death Qi, Sword Qi, Blade Qi, Dusk Qi, Dawn Qi. Bai Ningbing was dazzled from this view. All sorts of Qi gathered into countless forms. They were like plants, blades, swords, halberds, beasts and birds. They were all gathering right outside the Qi Sea, before charging in towards Fang Yuan for an intense battle. Comment. Fang Yuan initially felt huge pressure. He could barely move, but soon, he unraveled some of the mysteries of this killer move. Within the Sovereign Immortal Aperture, his Time Path clone was sitting in front of Wisdom Gu, using the light of wisdom to deduce the information of unlimited Qi Si rapidly. After fighting for a while more, Fang Yuan's brows eased as he laughed heartily, starting his counterattack. Everywhere he went, all sorts of obstacles were taken down and destroyed. He was unstoppable. He charged all the way until he reached the Heavenly Spirit. Qi Si Heavenly Spirit had a tough requirement for ownership. Fang Yuan could not achieve it. That information was obtained from Qi Zi's soul. Meanwhile, Blood Light Spirit Suppression could not work against a rank 8 level Heavenly Spirit. Thus, Fang Yuan went ahead to kill Qi Si Heavenly Spirit. The moment Qi Si Heavenly Spirit died, the unmanned unlimited Qi Si killer move immediately stopped. I surrender. Qi Ping Su's body shivered. He was completely subdued by Fang Yuan's overwhelming demonic aura. Fang Yuan looked at him coldly. You are quite smart. Alright, if you want to live, get Qi Fa and Qi Kai to surrender too. Otherwise, you can all die together. Yes, yes. Qi Ping Su was filled with pressure. He was sent into the formation. Qi Fa and Qi Kai learned that Qi Si Grotto Heaven was taken down. They lost all their motivation. After some hesitation, they surrendered with pale expressions, stopping their resistance. And now, from the 5 Xiangs bet, the prized rank 9 killer move Heaven form, the public Grotto Heaven of the 5 Xiangs, as well as Qi Si Grotto Heaven were all obtained by Fang Yuan. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1644, Big Family Qi. Chapter 1644, Big Family Qi. Translator. Atlas Studios. Editor. Atlas Studios. Qi Si Grotto Heaven. Come. Fang Yuan's main body shouted as he stretched out his right arm, his 5 fingers grabbing at the unlimited Qi Si in front of him. Immediately, an orange-yellow Qi flowed out of unlimited Qi Si. This Qi was extremely special. It was shiny and lively, moving with a long trail behind it. The tip of the Qi had auspicious clouds circling around it. This was Luck Qi, a type of immortal material. Unlimited Qi Si had all sorts of Qi in it. Luck Qi was one of the rarer ones. Because even in the 5 regions and 2 heavens, Luck Qi of such a scale was rarely seen. If a Gu immortal could find some, they were very lucky. Fang Yuan was dismantling the killer move Unlimited Qi Si now. This killer move was Qi Xiang's greatest trump card. It was similar to Fang Yuan's Luo Pa seal and Reverse Flow Protection seal. This Unlimited Qi Si killer move also used immortal materials. They were the myriad forms of Qi that he gathered. The more types of Qi gathered on large scales, the stronger Unlimited Qi Si was. Of course, not only would this move expend immortal essence, it also used up the stored Qi. Even if they were not used, as time passed, these qi would naturally dissipate slowly. Thus, Fang Yuan had faced the unlimited qi C killer move earlier when it was not at its peak. It was the 5th day now. Ever since he succeeded in taking down Qi C Grotto Heaven, he had been resting here. 2 days ago, he collated all of his gains. He also made enslavement agreements with the 3 Qi clan Gu immortals, Qi Ping Su, Qi Fa, and Qi Kai. Some of the resources that could be moved into the sovereign immortal aperture were also dealt with by Wu Xia and the rest. Meanwhile, his own focus was on the killer move Unlimited Qi C. This was a Qi Path killer move. It was not usable for Fang Yuan. Dismantling it would give him a vast amount of Qi, that was quite valuable. And most importantly, Fang Yuan could only deal with these Gu worms after dismantling the killer move, otherwise, if he refined them rashly, he might face the backlash of the killer move. After all, this move was complete and extraordinary. I will need 3 more days to extract all of the Qi at this rate. After that, I will refine these immortal Gu. Fang Yuan planned inwardly. There were many mortal Gu worms used to construct unlimited Qi C killer move, but Fang Yuan did not really care about them. His focus was on the immortal Gu. There were 6 immortal Gu that made up this killer move. One was a rank 8 immortal Gu, called Big Qi. It was the core of the killer move. Other than that, there were some rank 7 and 6 Gu worms. Fang Yuan was paying the most attention to a rank 7 immortal Gu. It was called Big Family Qi. This Qi Path Gu worm could store all sorts of Qi, including the Qi of tribulations. The final point was crucial. Fang Yuan had once used many small family Qi Gu to store his tribulation Qi and help him to pass tribulations. As an immortal Gu, Big Family Qi had a much stronger ability in this aspect. With this immortal Gu, I will be able to store and release tribulation Qi. That is a superb method to deal with tribulations. If the calamities and tribulations are powerful, I will use this Gu to absorb the tribulation Qi and weaken it. If it is weak, I will release tribulation Qi to allow myself to gain more Dao marks in the end. Using this Gu, I can even absorb the heaven and earth Qi of the outside world and store it. When the sovereign immortal aperture needs it, I can release this Qi. This prevents me from needing to place my immortal aperture in order to absorb heaven and earth Qi and stabilize the sovereign immortal aperture. Different situations gave rise to different needs. It was not that a higher-ranked immortal Gu was necessarily more helpful to the Gu immortal. In this case, rank 7 Big Family Qi was much more helpful to him than rank 8 Big Qi. Refining these Qi Path immortal Gu would expend Fang Yuan's time and energy. But there was no difficulty thanks to Fang Yuan's quasi-supreme Grandmaster attainment level in Refinement Path and Theft Path Great Grandmaster attainment level, as well as Great Thief Ghost Hand and other methods. Like what Fang Yuan anticipated, a few days later, he absorbed all of the Qi here. These Qi were all stored in different ways. Those that Fang Yuan could not keep were sold in Treasure Yellow Heaven directly. Not only these Qi, some of the resources inside Qi C Grotto Heaven and the 5 Xiang's public Grotto Heaven were sold by Fang Yuan to exchange for resources he needed. Normally, he traded goods for goods. There were few transactions involving immortal essence stones. Because Fang Yuan had advanced to rank 8, he had White Lychee Immortal Essence now. 1 bead of White Lychee Immortal Essence was in some sense 100 beads of Red Date Immortal Essence, which was 10,000 beads of Green Grape Immortal Essence. That was to say, 10,000 Immortal Essence stones could be converted into 1 White Lychee Immortal Essence bead. The conversion rate was simply too bad. Thus in most cases, rank 8 Gu immortals produced their own beads of immortal essence and stored them. Fang Yuan's sovereign immortal aperture had abundant time path resources. He could produce beads of White Lychee immortal essence rapidly. He did not need external replenishment from immortal essence stones. Especially when this replenishment came at such a high and inefficient cost. Fang Yuan's cultivation resources were mostly traded for immortal materials, because he was going to mass refine Gu now. Right when Fang Yuan was focusing on refining the Qi Path Immortal Gu, Wu Xia secretly went to find him. He was no longer in a female body. He had changed to a body belonging to a Gu immortal from southern borders Yang clan. They had compatible soul path Dao marks. In battle, Fang Yuan would also create some pure dream reality seeker physique bodies for him to use. Xianxia said cautiously, "Sect leader, you have already refined all of the 3 Qi clan Gu immortals immortal Gu, but you returned and rented them out. That is a good way to control them. But why don't you use it on Bai Ningbing? Even though she is very useful to you now, that is only temporarily, your ice and snow path attainment will increase in the future. Furthermore, Bai Ningbing possesses the killer move by Xiang, it is very powerful and threatening. Even if she joins Shadow Sect and undergoes the alliance agreement, she can easily break it without a problem. I might be out of line, but you seem to be too lenient with Bai Ningbing." Fang Yuan smiled as he shook his head. "That is because you don't understand her. She is a person who does not fear death. If I try that on her, she would rather die than surrender. Even though I have methods to retain most of her immortal Gu, what is the use of that? You've already seen it in the Battle of Reverse Flow River. I need manpower to restrain Heavenly Court's members. With your current strength, none of you can help me in this. Bai Ningbing, who has the killer move by Xiang, is very valuable. With her identity and circumstances, she cannot turn towards Heavenly Court. At the same time, she needs me to refine yin-yang rotation immortal Gu and restore her male body." Fang Yuan had refinement path quasi-supreme attainment level, while Bai Ningbing had no confidence in refining the immortal Gu herself. "We are too useless." Xianxia lowered his head. Fang Yuan laughed heartily, "I understand your other intention. I will take care of you guys and raise your battle strength." In the past, Fang Yuan only had rank 7 cultivation level, he had to prioritize himself. But now, he was rank 8, raising Xianxia, He Lulan, and the others' battle strength was icing on the cake for Fang Yuan. Of course, there were other reasons. In the past, Fang Yuan had no time or energy for this, but now as a rank 8, even though he was weak against Heavenly Court, ordinary people could no longer find trouble with him, they even had to avoid him. And with Fang Yuan's powerful methods in blocking deductions, as long as he did not go to the River of Time, he was safe. In such a situation, Fang Yuan could calmly strengthen his subordinates. He had a strong feeling that these people would be useful in the future. Furthermore, raising their cultivation level was easy, he could mainly use time path methods to accelerate the time in their immortal apertures. Even if they had calamities and tribulations, he could help them to pass. Xianxia obtained Fang Yuan's promise and left happily. Next, in his free time, Fang Yuan called He Lulan over. "I'll show you someone." Fang Yuan took out the captive Gu immortal He Cheng. He Lulan stared with wide-opened eyes, she was furious, wanting to tear He Cheng to pieces. Even though He Cheng was her father, they had deep hatred between them. He Lulan did not act out of line, she watched as Fang Yuan stored He Cheng back into his immortal aperture, she breathed roughly with bloodshot eyes as she gritted her teeth and said, "So He Cheng was in sect leader's hands the entire time. Are you thinking of recruiting him?" Fang Yuan laughed heartily, "Don't worry, compared to him, I hold you in higher regard. As long as you cultivate hard and accumulate some contributions, I am sure you will be able to take revenge one day." "I understand." He Lulan looked at Fang Yuan, by now, she had already been far exceeded by him, this difference made her feel extremely helpless. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know, report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1645, Rank 7 Spring Autumn Cicada. Chapter 1645, Rank 7 Spring Autumn Cicada. Translator. Atlas Studios. Editor. Atlas Studios. Inside the sovereign immortal aperture. The Gu refinement was at its most crucial point. The huge cicada was floating in the air, about 5 feet from the ground. The cicada's surface was not smooth, it was hairy and rough, while also having a metallic texture. Fang Yuan breathed in deeply, using his killer move that had been prepared for a long time. Instantly, winds blew around the cicada, dark clouds rumbled in the sky, gathering into one lump and turning the surroundings dim. Howl howl howl. Amidst waves of ghostly wails and the ground that was rotting into a pale white color, dark ghost hands emerged from the ground. They were thick and menacing, grabbing at the cicada. The ghost hands grabbed the cicada, but they were only illusory. The ghost hands moved around and took something out of the cicada before clenching into fists and retreating. Hundreds of dark ghost hands continued to extend from the ground, grabbing the cicada and removing the impurities from within it. The cicada was only a half-completed product. It was unstable and became smaller as the ghost hands grabbed at it. The surface slowly became smoother as the metallic surface became sharper and brighter. Fang Yuan had been paying attention deeply. Upon seeing this, he felt greatly satisfied. This method was his unique creation. It used rank 8 soul beast token as the core immortal Gu. In the last few times I refined spring autumn cicada, flaws appeared here. The materials were not processed properly. By doing this now, I can get rid of the impurities, but some flaws will be left behind. The dark winds had stopped blowing. The dark ghost hands shrunk in number until none were left. The dark clouds in the sky became thicker and denser. The cicada was already half of its original size. Its body was shining in a metallic light, giving off a cold feeling. Fang Yuan took out a huge lump of fire calmly. This was the rank 8 immortal material Phoenix Song Flame. It was red and yellow in color, with 2 layers. The outside layer was yellow while the inside was red. The inner layer was shaped like a phoenix. It flew around while singing loudly. As the flames continued to burn, it emitted a crisp and wonderful melody. Go! Fang Yuan grunted as he tossed a basin-sized Phoenix Song Flame onto the cicada's surface. Whoosh! A soft sound echoed as the flame spread, surrounding the entire cicada and setting it ablaze. At this moment, phoenix cries resounded in the clouds. Next, the sounds went soft but the flames became brighter, burning the cicada intensely. Fang Yuan held his breath, staring at the cicada without looking away. Traces of ghost chi started to emerge from the cicada's surface, but they were destroyed by the flames. This Gu refinement step was very difficult. The precision needed was extremely high and hard to manage. But Fang Yuan was sufficiently calm and patient. He waited until all of the ghost chi was destroyed and the surface of the cicada melted before he started the next method without panicking. Dragon roars resounded. A huge dragon-shaped blizzard landed on the surface of the cicada. The cicada's flames resisted it, but this dragon blizzard was too huge. Because it had Fang Yuan's support, it quickly gained the upper hand and suppressed the cicada in the middle of it. The Phoenix Song Flame on the cicada was very stubborn. It only dissipated after a few hours. Meanwhile, the dragon blizzard transformed into a piece of ice and sealed the cicada. Currently, the cicada had shrunk to the size of only a palm. When the blizzard stopped, Fang Yuan carefully retrieved the frozen cicada. Next, he breathed out some warm air as the ice melted, revealing the cicada inside. The cicada seemed to be a work of art. It was very exquisite. Fang Yuan pinched the cicada with his fingers. Crack crack. The cicada's surface started to crack. Next, a rank 7 spring autumn cicada awakened and flew out. Fang Yuan's gaze flashed with joy. It had not been easy. After so many failures, I've finally refined spring autumn cicada to rank 7. At this point, Fang Yuan had modified almost all of the refinement methods already. The Ghost Hand Purification method was created by fusing Great Thief Ghost Hand Killer move and Soul Beast token. Even though this method had great effect, it would easily leave Ghost Chi behind. Thus, Fang Yuan chose the rank 8 immortal material Phoenix Song Flame to get rid of the Ghost Chi and also temper the cicada. Eventually, he used the Dragon Blizzard, which was also not normal. It was actually a modification of the Slumbering Lightning Python Killer move. Refinement Path had 4 publicly recognized strongest immortal killer moves to deal with immortal materials. One of them was Slumbering Lightning Python. Fang Yuan modified it into a Dragon Blizzard. It suited him more and was better for the Spring-Autumn Cicada refinement. With all these reasons, his hard work paid off in the end. Fang Yuan succeeded in obtaining rank 7 Spring-Autumn Cicada. With rank 7 Spring Autumn Cicada and my Time Path Great Grandmaster attainment level, I can totally use Spring Autumn Cicada as the core to deduce an immortal killer move and prevent getting into Heavenly Court's trap. Fang Yuan's gaze flickered with uncertainty. Last time, when he entered the River of Time, he was ambushed by Heavenly Court because they had used a method to deceive Spring Autumn Cicada. Back then, Spring Autumn Cicada was only rank 6, now it was rank 7, and if he had a relevant immortal killer move, even if Heavenly Court used a rank 8 method to deceive Spring Autumn Cicada, they would not succeed easily. The best situation is to use rank 7 Spring Autumn Cicada as the core, along with a supplementary rank 8 Spring Gu, to create a rank 8 immortal killer move. When I enter the River of Time, I will not fear Heavenly Court's trap while also expanding my search range. Of course, the most straightforward way was to raise Spring Autumn Cicada to rank 8. But it was too hard. Currently, Fang Yuan could not refine rank 8 Immortal Gu. On one hand, even though he had extremely high refinement path attainment level, his foundation was shaky, his refinement path methods needed practice. On the other hand, he lacked finances. Back then, old ancestor Shui who had expended all his wealth and the entire foundation of Snowy Mountain before he was able to try and refine rank 8 Immortal Gu fortune rivaling heaven. Of course, Fang Yuan's foundation was very deep now. Not to mention his countless fortuitous encounters, just as wealth after extorting the southern border experts and the inheritance of the 5 Xiangs, it could be said that his foundation rivaled some super forces now. He had many Immortal Gu, even though he lost the incomplete Immortal Gu house, he still had dozens of them left. He had ample cultivation resources too of varying types, he did not just focus on one path. The only shortcoming was his weak subordinates. When He Lu Lan and the others reached rank 7, along with the 3 enslaved Qi clan Gu immortals, Fang Yuan would finally match a true super force. Even though he could not compare to southern borders Wu clan or western deserts Fang clan, he would still be first-rate, surpassing ordinary super forces, leagues above Chu Du's Chu tribe. I can give some rank 6 and 7 resources to Ying Wu Xia and the rest. Other than nurturing them, I need to refine Immortal Gu next. Most of the Immortal Gu that Fang Yuan was using extensively were still at rank 6. For example, Self-Strength, Pulling Mountain, Pulling Water, Strength Qi, Unravel Mystery, Dog Shit Luck, Qi Luck, Luck Inspection, Connect Luck, Time Luck. And most importantly for now, Landscape as before, Man as before, and Day Gu. If he raised the ranks of these 3 Time Path Immortal Gu, Fang Yuan's battle strength in terms of Time Path would surge greatly. His current focus was truly on Time Path. Even though Sword Path, Soul Path, Wisdom Path, and others had huge room for improvement, when he fought in the River of Time, he would need Time Path methods. It is a pity that Xianxia sect went to Longevity Heaven, my refinement path methods still need lots of work. If those hairy man Gu immortals can help me refine Gu, I can save a lot of time and energy. Fang Yuan expressed deep regret towards this. He had made use of Xianxia sect too conveniently in the past, now that they were gone, he had to work hard and expend great effort, even though Fang Yuan did not mind the trouble, too much of his time was used, he was no longer as free as before. And refining Gu has a problem, the success rate. The refinement to raise an Immortal Gu's rank had low success rate, the higher the rank, the higher the chances of failure. Fang Yuan wanted to refine rank 7 Gu, it would be harder than creating rank 6. Once he fails, the original rank 6 Immortal Gu might even be destroyed, in that case, he would need to start over and refine the rank 6 before trying for 7 again. If the Immortal Gu is refined by someone else during the period of its destruction, he would truly lose everything. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know in report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1646, Fang Zheng's Immortal Ascension. Chapter 1646, Fang Zheng's Immortal Ascension. Translator. Atlas Studios. Editor. Atlas Studios. Central Continent. The sky was dark and gloomy, there was no wind. Guyu Fangzheng stood at a mountain peak, looking at the sky, he felt a bit of nervousness thinking about his upcoming immortal ascension tribulation. Sensing his emotion, Fang Zheng laughed to himself, thinking, why am I nervous? Immortal Crane's sect should be the nervous one, or rather, the heavenly court behind them. On the surface, there is only one rank 6 Gu immortal in charge of guarding my ascension, but there must be many eyes watching me in secret. With these people around, what is there to worry about? Even though Fang Zheng did not know why Central Continent wanted to support him, he had confirmed that he was valuable and of use to them. In the past, he would not accept being a pawn like this. Back in Qingmao Mountain, Fang Yuan had hinted that he was used by his uncle and aunt as the tool to fight for the inheritance. This made Fang Zheng very angry. But now, Fang Zheng no longer felt anger towards this. In the last decade or so, Fang Zheng had experienced the war in Langyip Blessed Land's 3 continents. In order to nurture the most elite hairy man Gu immortals, the black-haired land spirit disregarded the price and made the hairy men of the 3 continent fight in an intense war. Fang Zheng was implicated. Surrounded by schemes and plots, bloodshed and war, Fang Zheng had made use of people, and was also made use of. He gradually understood that sometimes, becoming someone's pawn and being used was not a bad thing. At the very least, it proved his worth. If a person did not have value to even be a tool, then he was in danger, he would be discarded like a faulty tool. Of course, even though Fang Zheng had rank 5 Gu master strength, he also had experiences of being abandoned and betrayed. As a human living among the hairy men, it was natural to be ostracized and isolated. We can begin. At this time, Fan Shilu's voice resounded in Fang Zheng's ears. Fan Shilu had rank 6 cultivation level, he was sent over by Immortal Crane's sect to help Fang Zheng undergo tribulation. Fang Zheng nodded, he calmed down and looked inside him. His aperture was quickly seen, it was filled with primeval essence that showed his great talent, but his walls were filled with cracks. Anyone would feel nervous upon seeing it, after all, the aperture was the basis of a Gu master's cultivation. With so many cracks, it was definitely a severe issue. Fang Zheng was relatively calm now, his nervousness had vanished. In fact, during a battle in Langyip Blessed Land, he had used a forbidden technique while in a desperate situation. Even though he survived, his aperture was severely damaged and filled with cracks, his grade aptitude fell to B grade. Fang Zheng was saved by Feng Jiugu. After returning to Central Continent, his injuries in the aperture were healed, he returned to having a grade aptitude. But the cracks in his aperture walls still remained. It was not that Heavenly Court could not heal him, but they left those for him to undergo his immortal ascension tribulation more easily. Fang Zheng observed his aperture. He had once felt extremely proud of his grade talent, but after these life experiences, he no longer cared about aptitude so greatly. Right now, his gaze was stuck at the cracks in his aperture. To him, these were his achievements, he had gained these wounds from bloodshed and war, it was his glory. Goodbye, my aperture. Fang Zheng muttered. As he willed, the primeval essence in his aperture surged and crashed into the surrounding walls. There were cracks in his aperture to begin with, it was not sturdy. Soon, the cracks intensified as holes formed. The complete aperture finally connected to the outside world, a mysterious power was forming. This power drew in the heaven and earth chi of the outside world. At once, dark clouds rumbled in the sky, the earth was shaking, dust clouds were forming. At the same time, a formless heavenly power held up Fang Zheng and allowed him to float into the sky. Heaven's will. Fan Shilu, who was watching in concealment, sensed abundant heaven's will. Fang Zheng's tribulation had drawn the attention of heaven's will, far beyond normal. The calamities and tribulations started forming, a large amount of blood chi was converted from the heaven and earth chi, the dark clouds in the sky were quickly dyed red, the scale was huge, they could be seen from an enormous distance. Blood path tribulation. Joy flashed in Fan Shilu's eyes, the blood path tribulation was what the higher-ups wanted to see. Fang Zheng's aura started to spread out. This was his human chi. Every person had their own human chi, the scale was decided based on their foundation, talent, and abilities. Fan Shilu observed Fang Zheng carefully, soon, he had a look of surprise on his face. Fang Zhang's human qi was extremely dense, it showed how much life experiences and foundation he possessed. Heaven qi was raining down while earth qi was bubbling up, both intertwined in the air with human qi. Fang Zhang had a solemn expression, he tried to control the three qi and balance them. The three qi had just started interacting and now was the best time to get used to controlling them. Fang Zhang had received Fan Shilu's guidance, he was aware of this. But at this time, the calamities and tribulations were completed, a large amount of rain fell. These raindrops were all blood droplets, they were extremely bloody. As the blood rained down, white fog started to appear in the air. The white fog was quickly dyed red by the rain, turning the entire mountain into an eerie red color. Fang Zhang started to undergo tribulation. He put up his defenses and activated goo worms to resist the blood rain. At this time, whenever he used a goo worm, he would suffer a backlash. Soon, his goo worms died from the backlash. This was also why goo masters would often lose all of their goo worms after immortal ascension. But Fang Zhang was supported by heavenly court and had deep preparation, he did not lack goo worms. He calmed down and defended himself, not panicking. During Langyup Blessed Land's wars, he had experienced far more dangerous situations, he was adequately prepared for this. Fan Shilu was much more nervous than Fang Zhang. He stared at Fang Zhang without blinking. Rank 5 Gu masters usually had a lot of difficulty in their immortal ascension. Because they not only had to deal with the calamities and tribulations, but also control the three qi and maintain balance between them. I can help you to block this blood rain tribulation for a while, but the balancing of the three qi will depend on you, Fang Zhang. Before the tribulation, I had given you ample training, you cannot fail at the crucial moment. Fan Shilu thought to himself as he started to disrupt the blood clouds, affecting their size and influence. Even though this blood rain tribulation was huge, it was not too overbearing, it seems that heavens will have done this intentionally. Fang Zhang's tribulation was peaceful, be it internally or externally. The three qi fused properly, scenes of the past flashed in his mind as his body became tempered and elevated. Next, during the heaven and earth resonance, he entered the most crucial moment of this immortal ascension. During this period, he could gain natural inspiration and communicate with heaven and earth. This communication was extremely beneficial to any Gu master. Fang Zhang realized at this moment that blood path really suited himself. Time passed, the three qi condensed and formed into a lump of qi. Fang Zhang suddenly opened his eyes, he breathed in deeply and tossed a rank 5 blood path Gu into the lump of qi. Boom! A shocking sound exploded around him, the qi lump burst out and turned into an immortal aperture. Instantly, Fang Zhang's mind became blank, he was completely defenseless at this moment. A moment later, he regained his senses, he started to put his vital Gu and important Gu worms into his immortal aperture. The first one he put in was Blood Revenge Immortal Gu, of course, followed by a large number of Blood Path Mortal Gu. Within the immortal aperture, the three qi were conditioned and balanced, the world gradually stabilized. He obviously gained a high-grade blessed land. There was also a lot of heaven and earth qi remaining. Fang Zhang was overjoyed, these heaven and earth qi could raise his vital blood path mortal Gu into an immortal Gu. Even though this was dangerous and there would be following calamity or tribulation, Fang Zhang was courageous enough to choose this option. Fang Zhang, quickly let me in, I will help you with the tribulation. Fan Shilu transmitted. Fang Zhang frowned, showing displeasure. The immortal aperture was the most private area of the Gu immortal, Fan Shilu was infringing on it, Fang Zhang felt a sense of anger. But immediately, Fang Zhang relaxed his brows, he opened the immortal aperture door and said plainly, "Sure, Fan Shilu, please enter." Fan Shilu was surprised, Fang Zhang had just become an immortal, the process was not over yet but he had already changed his manner of speech with such a natural attitude. However, Heavenly Court seems be nurturing Fang Zhang greatly for the sake of dealing with Fang Yuan. I am actually quite envious of him. Several hours later, Fang Zhang's tribulation was past, Fan Shilu's envy rose again. It was because Fang Zhang's vital Gu was successfully refined into his second blood path immortal Gu. Cold blood immortal Gu. Several days later, Immortal Crane's sect announced to the Gu immortal world that Fang Zheng succeeded in his immortal ascension. He was once harmed by the vicious demon Fang Yuan. He was saved luckily and would now become one of the main forces of dealing with the demon Fang Yuan. Comment. Due to Heavenly Court's intentional propagation, news spread throughout the 5 regions. Fang Yuan's reputation was hit, his situation of being deserted by family and kin was highlighted, while Heavenly Court promoted its own magnanimity. Several days later. Spirit Affinity Fairy, goodbye. Above the clouds, Fan Shilu smiled as he spoke to Zhao Lianyun. Zhao Lianyun smiled, thanks for hosting. She heard that Fang Zheng succeeded in his tribulation, so she came to visit him. Unfortunately, Fang Zheng was not meeting anyone, he was hidden by Immortal Crane's sect. Fan Shilu did not dare to be rude to Zhao Lianyun. She was the current generation fairy of Spirit Affinity House. Even though she had rank 6 cultivation level, she controlled rank 9 Love Gu. Fan Shilu assured, I will definitely pass your gift to Fang Zheng personally. Zhao Lianyun nodded as she thanked him and flew away. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1647, Joint Suppression. Chapter 1647, Joint Suppression. Translator. Atlas Studios. Editor. Atlas Studios. Fang Zheng Blessed Land. His space path and time path resources were higher than normal. This was a high-grade blessed land. The terrain of the blessed land was mostly flat, but across some distance, there would be several tall erected mountains. Fang Zheng's focus was currently fully on a valley. This valley was covered in weird rugged rocks, it was completely blood red. Upon entering it, one would notice that the valley was filled with blood flower trees. There were tens of thousands of such trees, they were different from ordinary trees, they bore fruits before flowers. The fruits were the size of a baby's fist, round and smooth. The flowering only took an instant as the fruit shell would explode into a huge flower that was white and red. The flower was white at the base while the core of the flower resembled splattered blood. Each of these blood flowers had different colors and shapes. In Central Continent, there was once a time where Gu masters cultivated these blood flower trees on large scales. Each time they bloomed, the scene would be grand. There were even huge ceremonies just to lure these Gu masters to see them. But later, blood path was created and caused great problems to the world. Blood flower trees were a basic Gu material in blood path, they were banned from being planted. Fang Zheng's blood flower trees were all provided by Immortal Crane's sect, or more accurately, by Fan Shilu as a proxy. This was the trick of the righteous path. Fang Zheng was already used to it, feeling no surprise. In the current 5 regions, blood path was outlawed by the righteous path, but ironically, the ones who truly researched blood path were these righteous path forces. These blood flower trees are all mortal Gu materials, but as long as their numbers go up, I can use them in huge quantities, they will be equivalent to immortal materials. This is blood path's most unique advantage. These blood flower trees that I have are also a source of immortal materials in a way. But now, I already have rank 6 blood path immortal Gu cold blood and blood revenge, they need mortal blood path Gu to supplement them and form immortal killer moves. Fang Zheng understood that his focus now was to refine blood path mortal Gu and practice the blood path immortal killer move that Fan Shilu imparted him. Because he had just ascended, the immortal aperture was very different from his original aperture, he needed time to adapt to it. After looking for a while, Fang Zheng retracted his attention to the real world. The joy and feeling of achievement from looking at his immortal aperture slowly faded, they were replaced by a feeling of pressure in his mind. Fang Yuan. Back in the real world, Fang Zheng could not help but think of his brother. These last days, he had not only undergone his immortal ascension, he had also obtained information about Fang Yuan from Fan Shilu. The information was much more detailed than what circulated in the outside world, it was from Heavenly Court. Fang Zheng learned about Fang Yuan's situation. As for the fact that Fang Yuan did not die, he had known that when he was saved and returned to Central Continent. But strangely, when he learned the truth, he did not feel any rage from being deceived. In contrast, the more he learned, the more sadness he felt in his heart. It turns out, I have never truly understood you. Fong Yuan. Otherworldly Demon. Spring-Autumn Cicada, rank 8 cultivation level. The more he knew, the more minuscule he felt, the more he could feel Fong Yuan's terrifying strength. Thinking that he had to face such a person in the future, he felt a bit of depression and also a hint of despair. He faced the despair deep in his heart. He did not deny it or try to avoid it. Humans often said that a youth knows no fear. When one is young, they fear nothing and have strong drive and motivation. But after a person experiences a lot, they would learn about their own fears. Tigers would eat people, tiger claws would harm people, one's own strength was not as strong as they think. Imagination was wonderful, but only after facing reality would one feel pain, understanding the world and themselves during this painful process. When I was a rank 5 Gu master, I was engaged in the hairy man war in Xianxia blessed land. I lived a difficult life wandering about. But now as a Gu immortal, I am stuck between Fong Yuan and Heavenly Court, becoming a pawn. Even though my strength has grown greatly, my freedom has dwindled, I am facing greater danger now. I can die if any mishaps occur. Thinking of this, Fang Zheng smiled bitterly to himself. Even now, he did not know what value he had for Heavenly Court to put so much focus on him. Soon, he thought of Zhao Lianyun. When he ascended, he received some congratulatory gifts. This was the custom of the 5 regions. Whenever a Gu master becomes an immortal, their friends and family, or even the forces they were friendly with, would send them gifts. Fang Zheng's gifts mostly came from Immortal Crane sect. Zhao Lianyun's one was quite memorable as a result. From Immortal Crane sect's information, Fang Zheng gained a deep understanding of Zhao Lianyun. You are also an otherworldly demon, although not completely. You looked for me so proactively, I assume you want to join up and deal with Fong Yuan. Zhao Lianyun's gifts included a letter that expressed her goodwill, but she did not say much. Fang Zheng could tell what she wanted from her subtle words. Zhao Lianyun gave him one of the cultivation methods for growing a blood-type plant resource. It suited Fang Zheng. She even described her own cultivation experiences. Fang Zheng was very mindful of a certain paragraph. In Gu immortal cultivation, combat is the path of domination, while immortal aperture management is the path of supremacy. The two are complementary and necessary. Without enough battle strength and dominance, no matter how well the immortal aperture is developed, one will only get bullied. They will hand over their hard-earned spoils to others. But if one has great battle strength and lacking immortal aperture foundation, they will be like a blazing flame, only able to stay lit for some time. When they run out of firewood, they would only end up as smoke. Fang Zheng nodded to himself, thinking, other than this, her descriptions of the calamities and tribulations are also very useful. I can see that this Zhao Lianyun is very sincere. It is a pity that Immortal Crane sect is not allowing us to meet. What a pity indeed. Don't you think so, Fong Yuan? Saying so, Fang Zheng's gaze froze. In his early years, he was accompanied by his master Lord Sky Crane. Inside Xianxia blessed land, he was together with Fong Yuan's fake will. But now, in Central Continent, he was alone. Unknowingly, Fang Zheng had gotten used to accompaniment. Without you, I am not used to it. Fang Zheng shook his head and smiled bitterly. An indescribable sense of loneliness permeated in his heart. Heavenly Court. Fairy Ziwei smiled in joy. Fang Zheng has become a Gu immortal, but he needs to raise his cultivation level to become a useful counter against Fong Yuan. Fairy Ziwei knew about Zhao Lianyun's intention. After all, even though Ma Hongyun died, his soul was still kept by Fong Yuan. Fairy Ziwei frowned. The true problem is still Fong Yuan himself. Ever since Fong Yuan broke out of the river of time's encirclement, he had vanished, no longer appearing in public. Fairy Ziwei would prefer that he went around scavenging for resources. At least in that case, he would leave behind many traces and she would deduce many useful things, and even find a way to break his wisdom path defenses. In Fairy Ziwei's view, Fong Yuan was very strong in battle strength, but the more terrifying thing was his management skills. Every time he stayed secluded for a while, he would experience a huge rise in strength, his speed of progress was simply very shocking. This was the result of his skillful management. Because he had such a sturdy foundation, it could support his terrifying growth in battle strength. Right now, Spectral Soul is slowly losing his control. We are getting more and more information that is of high importance. In the River of Time, the Time Path Immortal Gu House has been repaired. We have 4 in total now. The earlier Time Path formation needs to be modified further. At the same time, we cannot let Fang Yuan live comfortably. I should contact Wu Yong. Some days later. Intense winds blew. Fang Yuan pushed forward with his palm. The strong force of the killer move went into the Immortal Aperture's entrance and permeated Lu Lan blessed land. He Lu Lan's tribulation was destroyed instantly. He Lu Lan's eyes twitched slightly, but her expression was unchanging. She stood in her Immortal Aperture as she thanked Fang Yuan, who was outside. No need to thank me. Fang Yuan looked at Lu Lan blessed land. It was quite poor. It could not be compared with the sovereign Immortal Aperture. Even though He Lu Lan had high aptitude, she had never truly developed her Immortal Aperture properly. This was what Fang Yuan wanted. He could give He Lu Lan cultivation resources. She had to rely on him for this. It was a form of control over her. In fact, Ying Wu Xie, Bai Ning Bing, and the rest were all in similar situations. Quickly leave. My wisdom path methods can only block them for some time. Moreover, each time, the tribulations will greatly influence my methods. Fang Yuan urged. Okay. He Lu Lan nodded. She did not dare to be careless, quickly storing her Immortal Aperture and entering the sovereign Immortal Aperture. Fang Yuan used fixed immortal travel to leave immediately. Wu Yong and the rest who came at full speed failed to catch him. Damn it! He escaped again. This lingering aura, someone underwent tribulation again. The southern border Gu immortals had ugly expressions. Some were furious, some were solemn, while some were fearful. This is the 4th one. Evidently, Fang Yuan is helping his lackeys undergo tribulation to raise their cultivation levels. If this continues, the situation will not be good. Comment. Wu Yong had a grim expression. A cold light flashed in his eyes as he said slowly, Fang Yuan has fixed immortal travel. He can escape rapidly. We can only set up many beacon towers and work together in Treasure Yellow Heaven to restrict his businesses and reduce his profits. Eventually, this will become our advantage. Jade light flickered in Chi Si Grotto Heaven as Fang Yuan appeared out of nowhere. We are safe for now. They are starting to target my businesses in Treasure Yellow Heaven. Fang Yuan snickered. He did feel pressure, but because he had recently devoured the 5 Xiang's public Grotto Heaven in Chi Si Grotto Heaven, he gained a vast amount of resources. Even if his businesses were suppressed, there was no issue. But this was obviously Heavenly Court and Southern Border working together. If he allowed them to continue, Fang Yuan would not be able to endure it. He had obtained a lot of resources from the Southern Border Gu immortal captives, but precisely because they knew about these resources, they could target these businesses efficiently. I need to think of a plan. Fang Yuan's gaze flickered with consideration. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1648, Conflict between Miao and Ren. Chapter 1648, Conflict between Miao and Ren. Translator. Atlas Studios. Editor. Atlas Studios. Eastern Sea. Swish swish swish. Waves crashed onto the rocks by the island shore, bursting into white bubbles upon impact. Wicked winds howled. The sky was dark. This uninhibited island was not eye-catching in the huge Eastern Sea, but it actually hid 4 Gu immortals. Ren Xiaoping, you are too much. Miao Mingshen shouted angrily with bloodshot eyes. He was injured, expressing intense anger and hatred in his eyes. He was a famous lone cultivator in Eastern Sea, having rank 7 cultivation level and cultivating space path. He had a method to increase the size of immortal apertures. He did that as a way of living, expanding the immortal apertures of many Eastern Sea Gu immortals. He was quite popular. Miao Ming-shen was neither tall nor short, neither fat nor thin. In terms of appearance, he looked ordinary, only his flat and wide nose left a heavy impression on others. In terms of appearance, he was unassuming. But he was an ambitious person, being very good at building relationships. He had a lot of charisma. 3 Eastern Sea lone immortals, Immortal Hua Dai, Feng Jiang, and Gue Qi all looked to Miao Ming-shen as their leader. The 4 were a group of Gu immortals with common interests. But now, Gue Qi was unconscious, his body was covered in a poisonous purple color. He was in great danger. Feng Jiang and Immortal Hua Dai, who were standing beside Miao Ming-shen, were in bad states too. They had evidently gotten injured from a serious battle. Lord Miao Ming-shen, what do we do? Gue Qi was hit by the ice-poisoned starfish. We do not have the way to heal him. Immortal Hua Dai was very worried. Not long ago, the 4 of them had fallen for Ren Xiaoping's plot. Ren Xiaoping had rank 7 peak cultivation level and was an enslavement path Gu immortal. He wanted to assassinate Miao Ming-shen using the ice-poisoned starfish. But at the crucial moment, Gue Qi blocked this fatal attack for Miao Ming-shen. Miao Ming-shen reacted and quickly brought the unconscious Gue Qi, as well as Feng Jiang and Immortal Hua Dai, out of the trap through a fierce battle. Feng Jiang's expression was cold as ice. The ice-poisoned starfish might have a troublesome poison, but I've heard that Su Chen and Fairy Jiu can heal it. Su Chen was a member of the Super Force Su clan. He specialized in healing and was famous in Eastern Sea. He was quite a kind person. Meanwhile, Fairy Jiu was a lone cultivator. She was cold and aloof. The price was high if they wanted to get her help. Miao Ming-shen shook his head. I am not going to turn to these 2. Su Chen is from Su clan, while Fairy Jiu has some relationship with Ren Xiaoping. Others might not know, but I am certain of this. I am highly suspicious that Fairy Jiu might be a trap set by that old scoundrel Ren Xiaoping. Ah. Then. Immortal Hua Dai did not know what to say. Miao Ming-shen smiled forcefully. Have you forgotten? Ice-poisoned starfish's poison can be removed with underworld yellow water. Feng Jiang stared with wide eyes. Underworld yellow water is a rank 8 immortal material. Even in Eastern Sea it is very rare. Lord, you have it? Miao Ming-shen shook his head. Of course not. I am going to use the extreme time pole to exchange for it. Feng Jiang and Immortal Hua Dai understood at once. Extreme Time Pole was a rank 8 time path immortal material. Miao Ming-shen had obtained it long ago. He could not bear to sell it. Feng Jiang and Immortal Hua Dai knew this. Immortal Hua Dai's expression changed. She said with pity, Extreme Time Pole is an extremely rare rank 8 time path immortal material. Why don't we use other rank 8 immortal materials to exchange for the underworld yellow water? Miao Ming-shen shook his head again. Rank 8 immortal materials are usually exclusively traded with each other. If I use other things to request for the underworld yellow water, others will not want to exchange it for my immortal material, and even if someone wants my rank 8 immortal material, they might not have underworld yellow water. But now, you all know that Heavenly Court and Southern Border are trying to stop Fang Yuan from doing his business. They are also gathering Time Path immortal materials and buying them out. Time Path immortal materials are now very high in demand. The price is rising sharply. Heavenly Court has a deep foundation. They definitely have underworld yellow water. I will definitely get it if I offer the extreme time pole. Lord. Feng Jiang was hesitant. He remembered that Miao Ming-shen had almost died when he obtained this extreme time pole. He paid a huge price. Miao Ming-shen laughed loudly, patting Feng Jiang's shoulder. How can I let him die in front of me? So what if I have to give up the extreme time pole? Feng Jiang and Immortal Hua Dai were very moved. They did not follow the wrong leader after all. As expected, the situation went as Miao Ming-shen predicted. Once his extreme time pole appeared, Heavenly Court took notice and the two sides soon traded. Miao Ming-shen obtained a huge amount of underworld yellow water. He used the underworld yellow water to cleanse Gue Qiye's body. He used just the right amount. After all, this water was also corrosive on an undefended Gu immortal body. After meticulously cleansing him, the ice poison starfish's poison was fully neutralized. Not long ago, Gu Qi woke up and opened his eyes. After learning that Miao Mingshen had paid such a huge price to save him, he felt extremely moved. However, he was not an expressive person. He kept his gratitude inside him and said to Miao Mingshen, "Lord, that old scoundrel Ren Xiaoping suddenly attacked us, he must be after the blue dragon whale." Miao Mingshen sighed, "I think so too. Ren Xiaoping had always wanted to work together and enter the blue dragon whale to excavate the hidden paradise Earth true inheritance. But his price is simply not sincere. This time, he actually attacked us. I was truly caught unguarded. What idea do you have, tell me?" Gu Qi nodded, "Lord, you know the blue dragon whale's location. This secret has already been exposed. It is too hard to guard this secret anymore. We should invite people to explore the blue dragon whale instead. When we gain the inheritance inside and increase our strength, we can deal with that Ren Xiaoping. Otherwise, with our strength now, we cannot defeat that guy. He also has a bunch of lone immortals helping him. As a crafty person, once he senses something amiss, he might spread the news and lure more people to us." Miao Mingshen's gaze flickered. "Instead of waiting for that to happen and letting Ren Xiaoping gather his people, we should seek reinforcements now. This idea is good, it is our only choice. It is a pity, if I had rank 8 cultivation level, we would be able to explore it ourselves." Gu Qi added, "Lord, we need to choose our reinforcements carefully." Miao Mingshen nodded. He looked at the 3 immortals, asking, "Of course I know, what recommendations do you have?" The 3 immortals gave their suggestions. Miao Mingshen nodded at times while shaking his head occasionally. He chose a few of them that were suitable, and eliminated some more from among them for safety. The most important thing was dependability. But this way, they had few people. Even if they worked together, they could not break the first hurdle. They would not be able to enter the blue dragon whale's inner world. At this time, Immortal Hua Dai voiced, "I have a suggestion. Does Lord remember this person called Chuing?" Chuing. Miao Mingshen's eyes shined. "Brilliant, this person has rank 7 cultivation level and cultivates transformation path. He even has grudges with Ren Xiaoping. But he is truly too secretive. I have not found any more information on him since then." Saying this, he showed hesitation again. "If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 1649, Regret. Chapter 1649, Regret. Translator. Atlas Studios. Editor. Atlas Studios. Paradise Earth's True Inheritance. Within 5 xiangs public grotto heaven, Fang Yuan received Miao Mingshen's letter, inviting him to join the exploration of the blue dragon whale. A light of pondering flashed in Fang Yuan's eyes. Miao Mingshen had actually clashed with Ren Xiaoping. He decided to explore the blue dragon whale ahead of time. This was out of Fang Yuan's expectations. In the memories of the 500 years of his previous life, this was too early. Maybe it was because of the increasing influence of my rebirth. Miao Mingshen and Ren Xiaoping's conflict turned out earlier than expected. Maybe the 500 years of memories were tampered with to begin with. After all, Heaven's Will was lurking inside Spring-Autumn Cicada. It could act very easily if it wanted to. There is another possibility. Heavenly Court plotted and deduced my relationship with Miao Mingshen, so they used this chance to deal with me. Thinking of this, Fang Yuan calmed his mind and closed his eyes, starting his deduction. A while later, he opened his eyes, gaining his conclusion. With all the clues that I have, there is little possibility that Heavenly Court planned this against me. It seems I have to go Eastern Sea now. Right now in the 5 regions, Northern Plains and Central Continent had Heavenly Court and Longevity Heaven. They were extremely dangerous for Fang Yuan. For the remaining 3 regions, Fang Yuan was most familiar with Southern Border. Especially since he had stayed in Wu Clan for some time, and had captured many Southern Border Gu immortals, he knew a lot of information about their super forces. There was another reason. Shadow Sect's headquarters were set in Southern Border. They had the most operations in Southern Border with many natural immortal formations set up in secret. These were all hidden and unexposed. With many of the above reasons, Fang Yuan chose to stay in southern border. Even when He Lu Lan and the rest underwent tribulation, they were in southern border. Even though the 5 regions had different heaven and earth chi, forcefully undergoing tribulation outside the home region would harm the immortal aperture, but Fang Yuan did not want them to develop their apertures well anyway. He took care of their cultivation resources, it gave him great control over them. During this period of time, Fang Yuan had already refined the many immortal Gu from Qi Si Grotto Heaven, they were usable to him now. The resources in Qi Si Grotto Heaven and the 5 Xiang's public Grotto Heaven were also starting to be absorbed. The remaining rank 9 killer move heaven form was very stubborn, it resisted Fang Yuan's refinement. But he was still making progress, in time, he would definitely be able to use it. Fang Yuan was troubled now because his businesses in Treasure Yellow Heaven were obstructed by Heavenly Court and Southern Border's righteous path, they succeeded in becoming an obstacle for his economic profits. Fang Yuan thought of many ways to compete with them, but the results were not good. Be it Central Continent's Heavenly Court or Southern Border's righteous path, they were rich and had deep foundations, Fang Yuan's capital could not match them. The easiest way to solve this problem was to engage in a monopoly business like Daoist Gu. But that required countless Daoist Gu, Fang Yuan lacked souls, even though Dang Hun Mountain was repaired, the production could not be raised. His plan in Green Ghost Desert had fallen through, if he had succeeded, right now against Southern Border and Central Continent, he would not have any problems. Qin Chou had gone missing, while the rest of the Western Desert super forces were now finding trouble with Fang Clan, they had a hard time raising their statuses. Fang Yuan had thought of using Fang Clan, but he had reservations about this, because his Swan Bujin identity was already exposed by Heavenly Court. His decision to plan for Green Ghost Desert was correct in hindsight. It was a pity that the situation turned out quite different from his expected results. This way, Fang Yuan's income started to dwindle. And worse was that Central Continent's Heavenly Court was buying all the Time Path Immortal materials they could find. As long as there were Time Path Immortal materials, Heavenly Court would basically pay them whatever they wanted. During this time in Treasure Yellow Heaven, Time Path Immortal materials were extremely popular. This was problematic for Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan's income had already fallen, he wanted to refine Time Path Immortal Gu to raise his battle strength in the River of Time, but now, Heavenly Court was oppressively stopping him. Heavenly Court had been created since the remote antiquity era, after countless years of accumulation, how could Fang Yuan contest them? Fang Yuan's improvement in Time Path was very marginal, while Heavenly Court obtained a lot of Time Path Immortal materials, they might even be able to refine a 5th Immortal Gu house. In this situation, Fang Yuan's hopes of obtaining Red Lotus True Inheritance were dwindling. I need a lot of Time Path Immortal materials to refine Time Path Immortal Gu. Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable was an Earth Path Venerable, the Paradise Earth True Inheritance inside the Blue Dragon Whale might not have many Time Path Immortal materials. But even so, I must go. This was an uncertainty, nobody could say what he would gain. Even if there were no Time Path Immortal materials, the Paradise Earth True Inheritance was definitely going to have some good things. Southern Border's Rank 8 Gu Immortal Lu Wei Yin is the current generation inheritor of Paradise Earth, if I can obtain this Paradise Earth True Inheritance, I might gain a way to deal with him. The more important thing is that according to my memories, the Blue Dragon Whale seems to contain the Rank 8 Immortal Gu Regret. In my previous life, Miao Mingshen explored many times and did not obtain Paradise Earth's True Inheritance, but he still gained a lot. Because there were many participating Gu Immortals, rumors of Immortal Gu Regret spread out. Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable used Immortal Gu Regret as the core to create an immortal killer move famous throughout history, Regret and Repent. Using this move, he caused many demonic path Gu Immortals to change sides and realize their mistakes, they turned from evil to kind. This move had incredible achievements. Immortal Gu Regret was naturally a Wisdom Path Immortal Gu. Wisdom Path had 3 elements of thoughts, wills, and emotions. Immortal Gu Regret was part of the emotion branch, because future Gu immortals created a small path known as Emotion Path. Immortal Gu regret was also part of Emotion Path. In the long history of humanity, Immortal Gu regret had appeared many times, sometimes rank 6 or rank 7, held in the hands of Gu immortals of the 5 regions. When it went into Red Lotus Demon Venerable's hands, it seemed to have been refined to rank 8 for the first time. Afterwards, Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable also obtained rank 8 Immortal Gu regret. Fong Yuan had investigated deeply into Immortal Gu regret, because he wanted to recreate Regret Pool. Speaking of which, other than tributaries of the River of Time, Immortal Gu regret was the core of Immortal Gu House Regret Pool. But unfortunately, back then in Eastern Sea, the Regret Pool left behind was half complete, it did not have Immortal Gu regret. If this Paradise Earth True Inheritance has rank 8 Immortal Gu regret, with this Gu, I will be able to replicate a portion of Regret Pool's power, it will help in refining Gu. This was what moved Fong Yuan the most. In fact, Regret Pool was part of Fong Yuan's plans. He had extorted Southern Border's righteous path and painstakingly created the incomplete Immortal Gu House. He had some anticipation towards this. Unfortunately, the incomplete Immortal Gu House was destroyed in the River of Time. Fong Yuan could not retrieve any of the Gu worms. Several days passed in an instant. Eastern Sea. Miao Mingshen looked around. He was surrounded by 8 Gu immortals. Of course, Fong Yuan was among them. Everyone. Miao Mingshen said solemnly, I have already explained the details of this expedition, I gave you all some time to consider. This is my first trip too, the risks are unknown, we might possibly die. If anyone wants to give up now, you can leave. I will definitely not stop anyone, I understand from the bottom of my heart. Sea winds roared by everyone's ears. Miao Mingshen looked around again, nobody moved. Paradise Earth's true inheritance was too valuable, even though there were few Earth Path Gu immortals in Eastern Sea, with only one Earth Path Gu immortal among everyone here, nobody wanted to give up. Humans die for wealth and birds die for food. Furthermore, Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable was the kindest venerable in history, he had never harmed a single person's life, his immortal inheritances were also known to be safe. If anyone gave up this chance, they would be a fool. Alright, since everyone wants to join, let's make the alliance agreement. Miao Mingshen was very excited. For this trip, he had made ample preparations. Zheng Luozi, please go ahead. Miao Mingshen cupped his fists as he spoke. Zheng Luozi stepped forward. He wore a white robe and had a skinny face, he had convex cheekbones and his eye bags were deep, bright light shined in his eyes. He cultivated Information Path and was rank 7, Miao Mingshen had talked to him long ago, he immediately said now, this is the alliance agreement that we are going to set, everyone, take a look. Zheng Luozi said that as many Gu immortals shook, looking slightly surprised. It turned out that the alliance agreement's information appeared in their minds at the same time. Zheng Luozi's action was a show of strength, affirming his superior status among the group. This Paradise Earth True Inheritance expedition had just started, but the Gu immortals were already starting to compete between one another in the dark. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know, report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1650, Chu Ying's Death. Chapter 1650, Chu Ying's Death. Translator. Atlas Studios. Editor. Atlas Studios. Miao Mingshen's expression did not change, but his eyes were carefully observing. Zheng Luozi's action was part of his arrangements, he wanted to collect more valuable information. Zheng Luozi's information path attainment was impressive even to Miao Mingshen. With Zheng Luozi's move, Miao Mingshen observed everyone and gained quite some insight. We have 8 people, other than myself, Gue Qiyi, Feng Jiang, and Immortal Hua Dai, there are also Zheng Luozi, Tu Tu Tua, Tong Hua, and Chu Ying. Other than Zheng Luozi and Miao Mingshen, Tong Hua and Tu Tu Tua were also expressionless. The rest had some sort of change in their expression at least. Miao Mingshan trusted Gue Qiyi, Feng Jiang, and immortal Hua Dai the most, but in this trip, he did not inform them about this, so their reactions were genuine. Miao Mingshan had lots of interaction with Zheng Luozi, Tu Tu Tua, and Tong Hua. He knew about their background. They were all rank 7 experts that were rare in Eastern Sea. In Eastern Sea, there was the highest number of lone immortals who are superior to those of other regions, because Eastern Sea was the most affluent in resources. Miao Mingshan's concern was Chu Ying. He had met this secluded cultivator several times. He left a deep impression on Miao Mingshan. The truth was, Miao Mingshan did not want to invite Chu Ying. But because Chu Ying and Ren Xiaoping had a conflict long ago, because he saved the lives of Feng Jiang and Hua Dai, and most importantly, because he seemed to have an abundant amount of lifespan Gu, all these reasons made Miao Mingshan inclined to invite Chu Ying for this trip. He was the only one who knew the location of the blue dragon whale. Therefore, all of the people he invited owed him a favor. Miao Mingshan wanted to cooperate more deeply with Fang Yuan. Forget the rest, just the amount of lifespan Gu that Fang Yuan had was extremely alluring to Miao Mingshan. Zheng Luozi's action made Chu Ying's expression change too. As for Tu Tu Tua and Tong Hua, it was unsure whether they were unaffected or pretending to put up a front. Miao Mingshan looked at everyone as he laughed heartily. Zheng Luozi, you have good methods. Tu Tu Tua snorted while Tong Hua gave Zheng Luozi a cold stare. Fang Yuan looked at Zheng Luozi with a surprised expression, but he was laughing coldly inside. Zheng Luozi's gaze swept past Chu Ying. Before meeting with Tu Tu Tua and Tong Hua's gazes, he laughed heartily as he tossed out some information path Mortal Gu. The information path Mortal Gu recorded the fine details of the alliance agreement. After inspecting them, the immortals nodded their heads in agreement, while also suggesting some changes. Of course, these changes were small and negligible. Miao Mingshan took charge as the leader, and after coming to an agreement, they signed it using Zheng Luozi's methods. Once the alliance agreement was made, everyone laughed as the atmosphere became less tense. It is time, let's go. Miao Mingshan moved at lightning speed as the immortals followed him. Miao Mingshan flew in the sky for a while before diving into the sea. We can't hide in the sky, it is easy to find us. If Ren Xiaoping learns of this expedition, he would not wait aimlessly. If we enter the sea, that means we are going to use the undercurrent. Fang Yuan speculated inwardly. As expected, after a while, Miao Mingshan led everyone to the bottom of the sea. They saw a huge python-like undercurrent crossing the trenches in the sea. Miao Mingshan's speed gradually slowed down until he arrived before the undercurrent. Miao Mingshan looked at Zheng Luozi. Before entering the undercurrent, for our safety and to ensure we will not be separated, Zheng Luozi, I would like you to use that immortal killer move to mark us and allow us to sense each other's location. This was another way to control them. But Miao Mingshan did not say it before the alliance agreement. He had said it before entering the undercurrent. Nobody could rebuke his sensible words. Miao Mingshan, are you sure? Zheng Luozi pretended to hesitate. Miao Mingshan smiled. We have already made the agreement. We need to work together sincerely. How can we not trust each other when exploring paradise, Earth's true inheritance? He said in a serious tone. Tu Tu Tua, Tong Hua, and the rest nodded in agreement without objection. Zheng Luozi looked around. Then everyone, don't be nervous or defensive, my move has no offensive capability. Fang Yuan mentally rolled his eyes as he said, go ahead and do it. Let me go first. Feng Jiang stepped forward at once. Zheng Luozi first used the immortal killer move on Feng Jiang before the rest took turns. After a while, all of the immortals were affected by the information path killer move. They could sense each other's locations. It is fine now, please follow me. The undercurrents are extremely fast. If you are slow by a step, you will be thrown far behind. Miao Mingshan said as he entered the undercurrent. Fang Yuan and the rest followed after him rapidly. Eastern Sea's deep-sea undercurrents did not have fixed paths. They were always changing and had various lengths. It was a display of the great power of nature. Moving along the undercurrent, the immortals were faster than some movement immortal killer moves, and most importantly, they saved a lot of energy, only having to put up defenses. If there were water path Gu immortals who had methods to move rapidly in the undercurrents, they could even defend themselves while fighting enemies here. Fang Yuan was towards the rear of the group. He found that this group's formation was quite specific. For example, Immortal Hua Dai was right beside him, talking to him constantly. Fang Yuan entertained her on the surface while secretly inspecting his information path Dao marks. After a while, Fang Yuan relaxed. These information path Dao marks were not hard to get rid of. Fang Yuan had lots of methods. He even had immortal killer moves like self-cleansing to resist these information path restrictions. But now was not the time. Everyone, we are about to go out, follow me. Ahead, Miao Mingshen suddenly spoke. After several breaths, he left the undercurrent, the rest followed, nobody was left behind. After leaving, Fang Yuan found that he was in an ordinary nameless sea area. In the following journey, the immortals used several undercurrents to travel. If there were no undercurrents, they would travel under the sea as well, being extremely low profile. Even if they met desolate beasts or ancient desolate beasts, they avoided them. If they saw any resources, they would ignore them. After several days of traveling, the group became more cohesive. Miao Mingshen was very skillful in human interaction. He solidified his position as the leader. He was smiling when he suddenly froze, saying, "We are near." The immortals were energized. Fang Yuan felt a little suspicious. He had used several investigative killer moves but could not sense anything. He could not see what method Miao Mingshen had used or why he was so confident. The blue dragon whale's existence was known to everyone. But its exact location was a mystery. Miao Mingshen must have a unique method to know its location. Fang Yuan had rank 8 cultivation level with immense battle strength. It was possible to kill Miao Mingshen and search his soul. But there were risks involved. Gu immortals had all sorts of mysterious methods. If he possessed some strange abilities, there might be mishaps occurring. Thus, Fang Yuan continued to lurk. It would not be too late if he attacked after getting into the blue dragon whale. As they got closer, the immortals started to sense the peculiarity. The seawater became more turbulent ahead. If earlier was a drizzle, it was a storm now. The obstruction was far greater. Desolate beasts and ancient desolate beasts increased in numbers. They could not help themselves in this huge storm. Fang Yuan and the rest had to fight while moving, slaughtering a bunch of desolate beasts before they carved out a bloody path to move on. At this time, everyone's strength was displayed. Feng Jiang and Immortal Hua Dai had the lowest battle strength. They were soon the ones who needed protection. Miao Mingshen was leading the group as the vanguard, facing the greatest pressure. Behind him were Tong Hua and Xing Luozi. Tu Tu Tuo was an Earth Path Gu immortal. His battle strength was greatly restricted in this place. Next was Fang Yuan. He had already turned into a tiny seahorse that was palm-sized. He moved like lightning speed. His strength was only mid-tier in the group. It was nothing impressive. The journey ahead was getting tougher. From the groups of beasts, figures of immemorial desolate beasts started to appear. The immortals could no longer move forward so casually. The strongest, Miao Mingshen, was merely rank 7. Following Miao Mingshen, they flew out of the sea, arriving in the sky. Rumble. Intense tornadoes surged in the sky, lightning flashed continuously as thunder rumbled, dark clouds extended to the horizons. Waves surged from the sea. They were thousands of feet tall. The situation was just as dangerous as underwater. Countless flying birds and eagles fought intensely amidst the thunder and lightning. Blue charm lightning shadows flickered in the dark clouds. They were hunted down by immemorial desolate beast Thunder Phoenix. Seeing the tail of the Thunder Phoenix flash by, Miao Mingshen and the rest breathed in deeply in shock. "Quick, follow me." Miao Mingshen transmitted. His body was covered in sweat. He flew forward rapidly. The Gu immortals all had their hidden methods, but this situation was too chaotic. The safest solution was to get away from this place as quickly as possible. The Thunder Phoenix screeched as it discovered Fang Yuan and the rest, diving down. The seawater erupted as an immemorial octopus large as a mountain moved its countless tentacles, treating Miao Mingshen and the rest as prey for food. Damn it, damn it. Miao Mingshen's expression was distorted, he almost broke his teeth from gritting too hard. Even before meeting the blue dragon whale, they were already in a desperate situation, the aura of death was close. Split up and run. After hesitating for a while, Miao Mingshen screamed. The Gu immortals quickly split up and ran. Crack. The Thunder Phoenix was extremely fast, arriving before Fang Yuan in the blink of an eye. Chewing. Immortal Hua Dai was dragged along by Gue Chiyi. Upon seeing this, she screamed in fear. Save me! Fang Yuan shouted with a look of despair on his face. Next, the Thunder Phoenix arrived in a flash, burning him to a crisp by lightning as he died on the spot. Chewing. Seeing this, the remaining 7 immortals were shocked, they escaped in an even greater panic. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible.